Hi and welcome to a new Oceanleaf video, and we are going to do a wrap of Microsoft Technical Takeoff 2025. It's been a huge event with lots of announcements, and to cover everything, I need to bring another expert, Florian.
Hi everyone, great to be here. My name is Florian. I'm from Switzerland, like Niklas is. I'm an Intune MVP and work every day with Intune, Entra, and everything around it. So this week was very exciting and special with a lot of news, a lot of deep dives, and a lot of new inputs, which we want to share today with you.
Absolutely, let's jump into it. So I tried to do a little overview of what was covered in Technical Takeoff, and it was basically everything in enterprise mobility and security. So Microsoft showed off recent innovations in, for example, Windows and Windows in the cloud with Windows 365 and AVD offerings. That was super interesting. Also in Intune, not just about the front-end features, but also some service and architecture insights, super interesting sessions. Of course, Intune Suite was covered. There were also some macOS sessions and a few Ask Me Anything sessions, so that's quite cool. If you want to have a look at the full event, go to ak.ms/technical takeoff, and there's also a session list which is presented to you. There's also a recording of each and every session. In case you're interested, feel free to look at the blog post that I linked down below, which is my blog post on the whole event, which summarizes it in text. And there you can find recording links to each of the sessions. But now we want to cover some highlights. And first off is about Copilot. So Florian, tell us about it.
And of course, it's a Copilot topic which we need to start with. In this case, it's Copilot or the security Copilot, which is integrated into Intune, where we have different features. You see them listed here. For me, the most interesting one is the first one, the Copilot with endpoint privilege management, which gives you some insights. If someone creates a request to evaluate some applications, you will have background information to that application. And also if there are some known CVs, you will get all the data from different sources and also from different portals from Microsoft. That's really neat feature. And the other one, which I like also very much, is the Copilot Assistant single device query. So it's not always that great to create KQL queries. Some people are great doing that. I'm not. So for me, Copilot there is really a big help. It's also always a good thing to show to customers how easy it is to create the query to find out which Windows update is installed, or when was the last reboot, or is there a pending reboot. So you're really fast with troubleshooting. Just one thing to keep in mind, you will need the Copilot license here, as well as the Intune Suite license, or depending on the feature you use in here, the sub-license of it. Also, for troubleshooting is great. For the Surface platform, I never used it before. Maybe you, Niklas?
No, not yet, no.
Oh, okay, something that we can have a look into later.
Yeah.
Next is Windows in the cloud with Windows 365. Also some great features there. One thing that was already announced at Ignite last year, or at the end of last year, is Windows 365 Link, which is more or less a modern thin client, if you like to think of it like that, but with some security features in it. And of course, you will be able to manage and deploy it via Autopilot and Intune, which is also very nice. And you will have all of your devices in one single view. You can equip whole offices or call centers or whatever you need, where people are on different workplaces with those tiny devices. They don't take a lot of space and give you great security. And one more feature or more license that came up is the Windows 365 Frontline shared license. With the classic Frontline license, you had the possibility to have one license and use it with 3 users. And now with the Frontline shared, you can have one license and use it with as many users as you want. But of course, you're only allowed to use one concurrent connection. So always one person can access that cloud PC. I can think of a lot of scenarios on customer sites to implement that shared license, because it's often that you have some specific use case which needs a dedicated machine or needs to be isolated or cannot run together with other applications on the same machine. And that's definitely a license which come into play. And also if you have a lot of different people, one work on Monday morning, one Monday afternoon, and the rest of the week looks the same, then you're very flexible with those licenses.
That's a super cool feature, yeah. Then very interesting session. That one is a little deep dive into the Intune service architecture. Microsoft specifically covered the latency part of Intune. As we all know, this was an area with improvement and is still an area with improvement, I think. But they really showed us to customers how Intune works behind the scenes and which different types of check-ins do exist. For example, there is some super fast notification check-in, but there are also quite a lot of maintenance tasks running in the background and check-ins, and also, of course, the change-based check-ins. So I definitely recommend you to watch this session, because they really showed how the service is communicating with all the endpoints and devices. And they also showed some future innovations, and their North Star is absolutely to have a real-time tracking of the change delivery and more transparency in the product. And they also mentioned that DDM, so Declarative Device Management, is definitely something they want to head to in the future, not just for macOS, but also, of course, for Windows. Another great Windows topic is Windows Kiosk. Remember that with Windows 10, we had quite a few Windows Kiosk functionalities. So we had like single app kiosk, but also multi-app kiosk. With Windows 11, it's still a bit hard to see through the whole product landscape, in my opinion at least, because now the multi-app kiosk is renamed on Windows 11 to restricted user experience. So you still can configure the whole operating system to have access to multiple apps, but to be still restricted and not have all functionalities. And Microsoft also did quite a cool demo on assigned access. So you basically need to configure, or it's even Microsoft that recommends you to use that assigned access XML file to do further system customizations. And with that, you have really all the opportunities to configure specific apps, to do system design adjustments, to adjust the session, to do networking, to do the networking part, and to configure all the extra devices around that Windows kiosk. And you can use that XML to really configure everything on the system, and it's not a shame to use it. So that's definitely...
And that's the most important message here. It's not a shame to use the XML.
Yeah.
You don't need to configure everything in the UI for the kiosk functionalities.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's go to the next topic, which is always a topic that is very much liked by the community. It's the Autopilot device preparation. One thing I really loved about that session is the graph or the workflow they showed that we have here on the picture as well, where you see which step comes after which step and which dependencies you have, and also where the serialized flow is. So that's really neat to know. Of course, there are still differences between the classic Autopilot and the Autopilot device preparation, or sometimes called V2, but call it device preparation, that's the correct name. But the main differences today are, of course, that if you are still doing a hybrid join, you will need to go with the classic Windows Autopilot. That's really the biggest thing, but also inside of the assignments, applications, and scripts, you will have some differences. And also with the pre-provisioning, there is not everything the same as we have it in Autopilot, but we are getting there and we see more and more features. And the biggest plus at the moment, definitely, and what I'm sure most of you are looking for, is what we have in at the bottom with the reporting and troubleshooting. We have much more insights on what's actually happening on the device, not only when we sit in front of the device, but also inside of Intune, where we have the reporting in which stage the device really is. That's like the biggest anticipated feature from my side, and I'm sure from a lot of you as well. And another session was about device query. We touched that topic at the beginning slightly with the device queries that we can use on a single device together with Copilot. But we had a lot of others enhancements in here, not only on the single device query, but also we are able since a couple of weeks to use multi-device queries inside of Intune. That means we are not limited to one single device. We can have queries which go over our whole fleet, which allows us, together with the upcoming features, to do some really nice bulk actions, like I search for a specific Windows update or a pending reboot on devices and trigger that reboot or trigger Windows updates. And especially with the upcoming feature that is announced to include remediation scripts, we will be able to do whatever we want on those devices with our custom scripts. I'm sure the community will come up with a lot of nice use cases and possible user interactions as well to deal with common errors and troubleshooting techniques.
Absolutely. Then also long-awaited feature. It's been released for a couple of months already, but now there was a session on Microsoft Connect the Cache, which is actually a caching solution for Microsoft content. This includes all the Windows and operating stuff, of course, but also Intune apps and also Microsoft Store apps. So the whole idea here is to have some kind of delivery optimization feature and to not always use the content delivery network. So you are better on the networking part of things. You have increased bandwidth, or you can save a lot of bandwidth when clients exchange the data that is already downloaded on specific clients, and then they exchange that data to have an improved networking connectivity and also networking performance. This whole thing is based on Azure IoT Edge Container and can be installed in Windows or Linux hosts, which is quite a cool feature, I think. And of course, security and updating was also highlighted and emphasized in that session. If you want to have a deep dive, make also sure to have a look at the recording there. And last but definitely not least is the recent Windows Labs innovation. For example, Microsoft showed officially now the automatic account management mode previously, and this was also our number one ask, to have some kind of feature to manage the administrator account, so the account creation, the configuration, and this was previously not covered within the product, and Microsoft was very well aware of that feature gap, and they now fixed it and brought it to us. So that feature is now shipped and can also be configured via Intune. That's quite cool. Then some password innovations, for example, improved readability for the Labs password was presented, and also passphrase support, so using certain words instead of random characters as a password. Then what I would also like to mention here is the post-authentication process to terminate the processes which were elevated with the Labs admin. That means as soon as the Labs account is expired or was detected to use, all the processes will be terminated and you will not have any security vulnerability just because the lab's account was used once. Yeah, it's a wrap. It's been a huge event, as said, lots of topics, and we had many more topics and slides in our backend, but we didn't want to blow this video here. If you want to have a look at more of the content, definitely feel free to have a look at Florian's blog, of course, and also my blog, oceanleaf.ch. There is a full technical blog post highlighting and showing all the details of technical takeoff. And I am very excited, and I think same goes for you, Florian, to see what the future holds.
Yeah, for sure.
Where the innovation goes with Microsoft.
Yeah, we won't get bored, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So that's already it with the video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.